What is up, Conversation Control? What is up, Nick? Today, we're going to have a truly mind-blowing session with a mind-blowing guest. I think the description explains everything. The announcement post to this explains everything. Nick is an incredible entrepreneur that has achieved a lot over just a lot, 30, 45, whatever kinds of days. And in today's session, I want to use the opportunity to get you guys to know Nick, get to know his genius, and truly be part of his incredible growth, his incredible path that has led him to the point he is today. And just have a freaking good time with the both of us digging into the nitty-gritty of that path he went. Before I go on and ramble, Nick, welcome. Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, no, good to be here. Feels weird. This is like the first time I've done anything like this, but yeah, just try and forget about the fact this is on Facebook and this is just a one-on-one call. But yeah, I'm excited to be here, definitely.
Wonderful. For everyone tuning into this, you should stay on here because I think by now, most of you have noticed the Monday sessions we're doing where we're getting our incredible clients on, sharing their success. And I want to do it in a way that is not, creating us as the biggest badasses out there, but more so talking about the gifts and the path the client, in this case, Nick, has embraced that led him to the success he's having today. Because I mention it over and over again, at Conversation Control, we do not have secret sauces. We do not have secrets at all. Pretty much everything we're sharing is shared in our $97 Power Hour Challenge and in our higher ticket programs. We truly just double down on mastery. So I think I want to use those opportunities to get incredible clients on that pretty much out of nothing, next to their incredible skills they have harnessed over being an incredible coach, being an entrepreneur, and have turned around their reality in pretty much no time. And in the case of Nick, as I recall, I remember meeting Nick in the Power Hour Challenge. And I was first skeptical of like, oh shit, I don't know if we have never served someone specifically where we have served English tutors in the past. We have thought, people, especially in the language space, but with the offer that Nick is running that he's going to talk about a bit more in a little bit, I was like, okay, it's going to be fun. It's going to be different. And we had a great conversation after the Power Hour Challenge. We had a quick back and forth. Nick joined Conversation Control, and I think literally within about 30 to 45 days, Nick went from no high ticket offer, I think if I remember right, quite inconsistent revenue following the launch model, to a point where this guy freaking pulls in 60K in revenue, which is fucking mind blowing. And I stopped rambling here for a second, and I want you, Nick, to know before I do. I want to influence the algorithm here a little bit because I have noticed that the Facebook algorithm, or in general, the engagement isn't as good as it usually has been. So I want to use the opportunity with all of you guys, if you want to support this and if you truly want that more people can be part of this transformation, to leave a comment really quick, because we all know that the algorithm loves engagement, and as more people that engage on this live video, as more people will actually see it. And I mention it again, the transformation we're going to talk about today is incredible. It will help you. It will help you look at business differently, and it will help you truly embark a same path that Nick has been on. So let's hammer something into the comment section below that we can, kick off that algorithm for a little bit. With that being said, Nick, why don't you take a second and, maybe introduce yourself? Like, who are you? Where are you at in the world, and what is it that you serve the market with?
Yeah, sure. So first off,
wait, sorry.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, first off, good to be here. So I'm from the UK. I run a maths tutoring company, and I'm 23 years old. I started this business actually when I was 15, initially as a maths tutor whilst I was a student myself, to raise money, essentially part-time tutoring maths. I initially did it for a school trip, and because I thought, okay, it's quite good money. And at the time I was like washing up for like £5 an hour in a cafe. So it was rubbish. I was like, okay, I'm gonna tutor maths. Did that. And then when I was 17 years old, I started hiring other tutors within my school. to work for me as tutors, and I kind of built this up. And then I had like initially the business model was essentially I would find the tutors and I'd be a middleman between the tutors and the clients. I'd go out and I'd find the clients. It was initially like, standing outside schools, chatting to parents, being like, hey, we've got these tutoring sessions, blah, blah, blah. Then I'd get the demand, they'd call me up, and then I'd go and find other tutors that were like also students like I was, and I'd hire them to be, hey, you guys interested in tutoring maths or English? I'll pay you money. And I was kind of started like that. So at the time was like super obsessed with the business. I've been doing this for a few years now. Been doing it full time for about 4 years. And as Miles said, I mean, I've been doing this for a while, but definitely over the last, throughout the whole time, always revenue's been super inconsistent. And the last, I'd say, year and a half, I was experimenting with this kind of launch model where I kind of was building up my Facebook group, and then I'd be selling low ticket items, digital products, or subscription offers that was basically tuition that I was outsourcing to other tutors. But really the cash flow, I was constantly in survival mode, making some money, doing it full time and being able to support myself, but still really struggling to make any decent money where I was like saving any money, anything like that. It was like really kind of just about getting by. So that was the context I was in coming before the Power Hour.
Dude, hearing your story, it made me think of all the movies I watched where people were talking about, their paper routes, where they had to, like bring people the newspaper, and then they were smart enough to hire people that, brought the newspaper, like they had a team, delivering the newspapers, and truly, building up somewhat of an empire based on that. Yeah. Fucking incredible. Like where did this inspiration or courage came from of, and like embarking on a path of entrepreneurship so early on in your life?
I don't know. I mean, I definitely, used to do a lot of things. Like me and my friend used to sell donuts in school every Friday, and we had a whole system going. We used to sell like 350 donuts in like 20 minutes every Friday. We had the whole system on lock. We'd like cash out every Friday. I was always doing like little things like this. I don't know. And then obviously initially tutoring maths, I just enjoyed maths in school. So I was like, well, why not, do that as a part-time thing? But I guess a lot of, people that would start their own business, and definitely for me, we're just thinking like, I don't want to just teach maths and earn an hourly rate, especially if it's like a low hourly rate. I want to actually build something. And it made sense, seeing a lot of demand, even though the business model has changed a lot, and definitely with working with you guys, it's like so much better now. But the initial business model was essentially that, just thinking, well, there's a huge demand for tutoring from the parents, and there's also a huge demand from students who want part-time work. So why didn't I just be the intermediary, the middleman between them? And I had ideas about how I could make that work really well. And I just thought that was a scalable idea. I was like, okay, well, why would I not do it? Why wouldn't I do that? It just made so much sense. And so, yeah, that really just the belief in the business model and the idea definitely kept me going. But it's been rocky. It's been rocky.
As always, I guess. Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
So you have sold classes, hourly like classes. What was the price of that? Exactly.
So initially it was like £20 an hour, and then I would give the tutors 10, so I'd keep half. This was initially like in the early days, and then it would kind of stuck around there for a couple of years. Yeah.
But you have like, I mean, like when we have been talking, you had successful launches. I think when we had that, you pushed that model forward. Tell me a bit more about that.
Okay, so exactly. So I would have, because even for the last few years, we've always had this idea of like, okay, I want to build it into this, successful company. So I don't want to like pigeonhole myself into just doing tuition, even if it's a good hourly rate. Like prior to this, I had a couple of clients pay me like £100 an hour for tuition, which compared to other tutors is a good rate. But I still didn't want to put myself into just doing that, because again, even though it's good money, it's still an hourly rate. There's nothing wrong with that, but I thought, where is this actually leading? So I was trying to avoid that. So one of the things I did instead was that I would do a Facebook Live course where I'd have like 50 students watching the Facebook Lives, and I'd sell that as a package. And initially, the start of the first lockdown, when the first lockdown happened, so just over a year ago now, I was at that time thinking about recording videos to sell as a pre-recorded course. But then lockdown happens. I was like, okay, all these kids, because I actually, everything that I do, it's maths tuition for children. They're 10 years old. The parents buy the courses for them to help with a specific exam in the UK. So when the lockdown happened, the kids, okay, school's shut, So I knew that there was going to be a demand from the parents to like actually get their kids doing something every day. So I was like, okay, well, rather than me recording videos, I'm just going to go live and do a Facebook Live course. Sold that for like £250 and I got about 40 customers. So it was the first time I went from like selling classes and random digital stuff like £20 an hour, and then all of a sudden 10,000 I made in 1 week. And I was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. Or it was the first time I had this kind of breathing room where I felt like I wasn't constantly battling just to pay the rent. So had that first about a year ago, this launch Facebook Live package. It was like, I can't remember, like 20 Facebook Lives, £250, something like that. And then obviously it's a bit more scalable because I had like 40, 50 people watching. That was that model, yeah.
Incredible story. That's incredible. So you've had, you know, those successful launches, and you were finding, you know, that you were seeing the company grow, you had vision. And then I think at someday the Power Hour Challenge, or at least the advertise, like, did you find us over an ad, or how did you?
No, you know what? I think I might have been in the group, or I was sorry, excuse me, I was friends with you on Facebook for maybe like a year and a half.
Okay.
And I remember, you know what? There was a few times where I saw your posts and I was so tempted to buy, and because the copy got me, but then I was like, no, I don't want to, because I, you know what? Apart from working with you guys, I think I bought one other course that was like £300 like 2 years ago, but I'd never invested anything else into business coaching, and there's nothing wrong with it. But I was always like, I didn't really want to make that jump. Yeah.
So you did the Power Hour Challenge in December, I guess it was end of December. At this point, what was, you know, like was it like, what changed? What was like, you know what, let's do this, when you came from a point of, you know, like, I don't really want to invest in like, what was that tip?
Yeah. So the honest answer is that, so even going back to, so a year ago, let's say, so first lockdown happened, 10K launch, amazing. First felt like, okay, wow, I'm not in this constant survival mode. But because I'd been in this place for about a year where I was just fighting to just to keep the business running, I felt like I'd gone so off track with what I was actually trying to set out to do. Because initially when I started the business, I was like this huge vision. I was so passionate about it. And then it was like just about making money. And then I did these first 10K launch, ended up doing one a bit later too. But the first 10K launch was this breathing room. And I was like, what the fuck am I actually doing? Like, what is this business become? And then I kind of reassessed and really where I was going. And I actually decided to apply for university. I tried to apply for Oxford University. They rejected me, just how it goes. But then I was like, okay, I can't do that. Like the business, like I always thought, okay, I'll do something else and the business will now be a side thing. It was like, right, okay, if I'm actually going to make this business work, how the fuck am I actually going to do this? And I realized it was because I lacked any real selling, like understanding. I'd like built the Facebook group, the marketing there, but like I didn't know how to sell. I didn't know how to create an offer that people would want to buy apart from like really low ticket stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, if I'm actually going to do this business, I need help. Like, and then it was from that. And then I think from seeing your post before and being a bit on the fence and then seeing another post, I was like, actually, you know what? Let me actually see how much, I can't remember how much it was, but it was under $100, something like that. I was like, screw it. Let's just do it and see what happens. And yeah, I'm genuinely so glad that I did that, because it's it's ridiculous. And even like, I know we were speaking about it the other day, like the lead up to the, you know, the message they put about this, $60,000 revenue in 30 days. It's ridiculous. Like I'm blown away by it. Like I can't believe that's happened that fast. Yeah. Yeah,
I hear you. So it's actually funny we were having that interview today because the Power Hour Challenge kicked off today. It kicked off today. We have about like 80, 90 people in there right now that are doing it. So I'm sure they will be tuning into this as well. Going through the Power Hour Challenge, for everyone not knowing what it is, it's a 10-day event where we basically hand off our conversation control process and we let people go out there and, you know, initiate profitable messenger conversations, turn those into sales conversations, and we do that over 10 days. Curious. So what were the breakthroughs or the things you have been working on, the things you have been focusing on in the Power Hour Challenge that moved the needle?
100%. So that was like the context coming to the Power Hours. Like, okay, I didn't have a high ticket offer. I'd had some background in doing a couple of these launches, but I felt really lost with the business. Like, actually, what am I doing with this? Like, if I'm going to re-engage and like really focus on this, like, what am I actually doing here? And so going into the Power Hour, the biggest things straight away that was like incredible was the community. Definitely felt like, you know, going through starting your own business, especially through lockdown, it can be very tough. You know, we've all been there. So it is quite isolating. And I felt like initially being a part of that community of supportive, positive people that were also achieving things. You know what, the craziest thing was, especially seeing random people who, well, at the time I didn't know who they were. Obviously I'm connected with them now, but seeing posts, somebody like, oh, I just closed a 6K deal. I was like, what? A 6K? I think there was actually somebody that ran like a marketing agency, so it must have been like a 3,000 a month thing. He's like, oh yeah, just closed another 36K deal. Another 36K deal. Like, it sounded ridiculous. So seeing like that, was those things initially, just being a part of the community, man, made me feel really good, made me feel really motivated, very inspiring, seeing what other people are doing. And it was initially seeing, you know, connected with the people within my war room, seeing other people like landing these deals and posting in there, like, wow, closed this 6K, 8K deal. That made me think, damn, maybe I could do something like that. Because at the moment I'm only selling like low ticket items or like low ticket subscriptions, but there's no like core like offer. And like, so it was seeing that, just knowing that that was possible was huge. So those things.
And that's an incredible attitude of yours that I quickly want to shine light on, is that because we see both ends inside the conversation, like inside the Power Hour Challenge group. There's 80 people that get this encouraged. They're like, oh shit, they're all signing 6K deal, 36K deals, and I haven't signed deals in weeks or months. And they're like, oh shit, I'm doing something wrong. That's the wrong group I'm in. And that is respectable. That's okay. I have felt probably the same way as well. But I think to truly, a community can be so powerful. It can lift you up or it can drag you down. So what I love about your attitude is like, you know what, instead of comparing myself with the people inside this community, I use them as an inspiration to look outside of my box instead of being so focused on selling low ticket, doing all of those things I'm doing right now, to start looking at the opportunities on the left side, on the right side, like, oh shit, there are actually people closing 36K deal. That then makes you quite naturally start thinking about, well, how would it be if I would implement something like that? And then you quite naturally start going there and start thinking and unpacking that idea. And it creates great opportunities moving forward. And that is such a respectable attitude of yours, to not get disencouraged, but rather inspired by others' results. That's incredible.
Oh man, 100%. It was so inspiring. And that's it. And even going into and having this kind of low ticket subscription, everything that I was learning in the Power Hour was also helping me to sell that. But it was definitely at the same time too, I was thinking, well, what about if I applied what I'm doing here and I took the Facebook group, the audience that I had and the credibility that I have there, and believing that I can really help people, and then use that to create a high ticket offer like other people are doing, then yeah, exactly. It was that initial, okay, well, how would I go about doing that? And obviously that was the segue into joining Conversation Control. I mean, that was one of the big ideas. But even going back to the Power Hour specifically, you know, staying on within that for a sec, I found that the kind of just the overall ethos, the way that the business was carried out, I really liked it too. The kind of the philosophy behind it of how to approach Messenger and how to approach the kind of the sales process. I really liked it because I thought it felt really ethical. And I really liked that. And it seemed also at the same time systemized and predictable. And also just the whole vibe of, you know, you and the coaches inside the program. I felt like, yeah, this is something that I want to be a part of. It didn't feel like really unethical, anything. It felt, I don't know, it felt practical, but it also felt like morally good. Yeah, and I was using it and it was working, and then definitely that's it. Saw the high tickets, I was like, wow, incredible. And that's what initially made me thought, okay, well, how do I actually go about creating that high ticket offer?
The distinction you brought up was like, I remember, I think it was with you where we had the conversation of like, you know what, I don't want to be that classic internet marketer that is, you know, spamming and, you know, exactly, doing that crazy stuff. And
yeah.
You bringing up, and like that, I've brought that up so often. It's still an ongoing attempt to nurture that process of, look, guys, Messenger, yes, it can be spammy as every other tool that we can use out there. You can also pick up the phone and just spam all people in your area by calling them up 100 times a day. But it doesn't have to be that way. And the beautiful thing that you brought up is that the predictable piece about it. Because when you can truly start using the Power Hour Messenger in an ethical way that you feel in alignment with, it gives you such a power of control, because we're, instead of hoping that, which is cool, I do launches to this day. We have launched the Power Hour Challenge multiple times, but the problem is we can just hardly ever know how many people are going to raise their hand on a launch. And while it's a great tool to accelerate growth and sales, when we don't have something that we can rely on, that even when a launch is not going well, we have a tool, a proactive tool like Messenger that allows us to go out there and make sales, we will always, what I call, just do that finger cross marketing. And I think everyone who wants to achieve results like 60K a month or truly scale their business, it needs that predictability, it needs that control, or you just don't even know what you scale because there's no numbers, no data or anything.
100%. Yeah. And also, especially the other thing too, is like, I found from kind of, I guess we can get into it in a sec about the high ticket stuff if you want, but even just kind of from doing these launches where I'd sell these low ticket items and I was just relying on the launches, I felt almost a bit bad about just kind of coming onto the Facebook groups once every few months, spamming, selling these low ticket stuff and then just like disappearing for a while. And it obviously wasn't very good for business, but I also felt like I wasn't building authentic connections with people and really understanding what they actually need. And then I think it's also because I didn't have a high ticket offer where I could really work that closely with people. I also felt a bit like actually what I was then delivering, making these big claims, and then what I delivered was still good, but I didn't necessarily understand for each person whether it was the right thing for them. But with Messenger and the process that is taught in the Power Hour, you can do that, but it's also, you're not wasting time. So you're building these real relationships, but it is still systemized. You can still track it. So it's really effective, for the low ticket stuff I was doing initially. And then that's it. As soon as I then joined Conversation Control and speaking to you, one of the biggest things was about, okay, seeing inside the Facebook group, people are selling these high ticket items. That's what I want to move towards, but I don't really know how to go about doing that. And then the combination of the Power Hour process and the high ticket is like just what has made things absolutely explode over the last 30 days. Ridiculous. Yeah.
Let's go there for a second, because there's something I truly want to share and honor you for again. Is so you joined Conversation Control. I know we've had that conversation where we were thinking about, I should study for exams, or I could, I don't know if I should, jump into this right now. You made the decision, if I remember right, or if you want to add something to it, feel free. I think you made the decision to like, what, I want to double down on this because I see the potential of, creating a high ticket offer, moving forward with this. You joined Conversation Control. And I think the first thing you did was putting together an offer with Simone.
Yes.
So what I felt like, and I think, and I'm looking forward to your, like the way you describe it, but what I felt, what was incredible, and what I see with the clients that do best in our programs is when they embrace the advice we give them. So they go out there and they do it. They add their own twists a bit to it, so how they know the market. But I remember so well when you went out there, I think you wrote a 2-step or so, and you immediately booked a bunch of triage calls. And you went out there and got into those with the mindset of, I start providing content based on what I'm hearing on those calls. And I think pretty much immediately you started booking calls and making sales. But I'm curious to hear, as soon as that high ticket offer was created with Simone, that first draft, what happened from that point on?
Yeah, so that's exactly it. So the first thing was just going about the process of creating the offer. And even just to stick on that one for a sec, that call was literally incredible because it was the first time that I even considered what a high ticket offer even looks like. I didn't even understand what I had no idea. You don't know what you don't know. I had no idea. And just getting real clarity on working with Simone and understanding like how to actually go about figuring out who my target customer is and what kind of pain points they have, but also like really understanding them and also how to go about doing that. And that was incredible, creating that offer. And then it was one of those things where, you know, continually refining it based on the practices that are covered within the program. But taking that high ticket offer, and then that's it. I think I was doing so. I kind of did some 2 steps. I did some posts based on that. I offered the triage call, the first step. Booked a few calls, and then that's it. I was kind of asking questions and using that to better understand my target customer, and also using that to create some posts. And then I remember even, you know, can't have been maybe within a week of creating the offer, maybe a few days. Sold I think it was the first sales call that I had for the offer. I sold it, and it was a 3K. And then it was within the space of maybe 2 weeks, I sold another 7. And then did the launch, and in the and then sold 12 on the launch. So it was sold 20 packages at an average of 2.5 each, because it's slightly different depending on what they need. But yeah, it's 44,000 pounds. 60,000 US dollars, and it was very quick. It was a real sprint, because I remember I was with one of my mates in an Airbnb the weekend before the call with Simone, and I remember like I was up basically like we were hanging out, and then we were like speaking about it, and I was like talking about this offer, and I was trying to figure out a way to make it work, and then had the call with Simone on the Monday that I got back, created the offer, and then that week booking calls, speaking to people. And then it all happened super, super fast. Content going out, calls being booked, jumping on sales calls, closing them. And I was surprised just how rapidly it all went. It was.
I was surprised too.
Yeah.
It was like, this is just, it's the fun thing is, and what you did so well with the experience you've had is, there are really only 2 things for clients for us to not get results of conversation control. It's A, just simply not doing it, or B, there is no alignment with the market and the offer. Now, with the experience you brought to the table, and with Simone, our offer surgeon, with the experience on how he knows the market, putting this together, I think one of the big reasons, not like smaller reasons next to your own attitude, just created that market message match. And then being able to properly communicate this in if you have an audience, if you have a fee, whatever it is, and you communicate those, however you want to call it, that match properly, you will go and book the calls. And then when the pitch of the offer itself is presented to the right people, as Nick said, I mean, he came from a background of, you know, not really understanding much of sales. And in a matter of 4 weeks, you can hardly become a sales badass and be the best at it. But it doesn't, you don't have to be. When you can present the right offer to the right people, sales, I don't want to call it effortless, but it becomes quite easy. And I mean, for you, I think it was in a span of about 20 to 30 days where we sold, or you sold, I don't know what it was, like, again, like 23, or what was it, 19 spots for your program.
20 so far. Yeah.
20. Fucking crazy. It's incredible. So did it feel real? Like, I mean, you're on those phone calls, you're making those sales. It's like, okay, that guy said yes. That guy said yes. Like, okay, something strange. what the heck is going on?
It was very weird. And that's it too. Like, especially, I haven't got like a really extensive sales background. In fact, when I was selling these low ticket items, I would never get on sales calls, because I just always saw it as there's no point in getting on a phone call if it's like, you know, under 100 quid. I was kind of just a bit like, I'd rather figure out a way to do it so I don't have to do the sales calls. So I wasn't doing sales calls. And then, you know, jumped on the first ones. And it was, you know, the biggest thing of absolutely everything was just the belief in the offer. And having that absolute conviction within it. Also, the process of really being forced to understand, what does somebody actually want? And then thinking, how do I actually provide that? And then I felt really confident with what I was actually selling. For the first time, I felt like I wasn't just selling lessons. I wasn't just selling, you know, whatever other digital product. It was like, this is actually something that's really valuable. And just having that absolute conviction, because I went through that process of really understanding, what does my customer want, and then what can I actually deliver to them. Okay, wow, I've actually got something that I can really help people with now. And then taking that onto the sales calls. Yeah, definitely the first call, $3,000. I was like, wow, I can't believe that's really happened. It was the first one was probably the biggest, like, oh my God, that is ridiculous. I can't believe that that's actually just happened. And then the fact that I was then jumping on other sales calls and I was closing most of them, I should be better at tracking my exact closing rate, but at least most people that get on the sales call will go for it. And then so within the space of a couple of weeks, there was, I can't remember, maybe like 8 within the first 2 weeks. Yeah. And so obviously it was like happening like most days, most days in New Zealand. I was like, wow, like,
winner mindset too, I guess. You're just like, oh shit, it's just a new normal now.
Yeah. And that's it. I think, the plan is to really keep doubling down on the power hour, because it does work, and you can, the combination of now having a high ticket offer that I really believe in. I've got the credibility within the Facebook groups. There's a few different Facebook groups within the particular exam space. I've got the credibility. I really believe in it. I've got the results. I have an offer that I really believe in. I have a system to actually find new people, bring them into my world, and then find the right people. And then, I've got an offer to present to them that I really believe in, and is actually working. People are actually going for it. And also the thing that I add today is that, I started new people. So the students that have joined my program this week, a lot of the new students are starting with me, and the feedback. So I had a couple of sessions earlier on before this, and the feedback was really good. So it's like, I'm also selling something now that, okay, I believe in it. And actually, it's not like I'm selling this really expensive thing that I'm ripping people off. Actually, it's valuable. The feedback already is people like, I'm so happy we signed up. So it works from all angles, it just makes sense. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Now, everything went very quick. Did you feel like you did anything specifically complex, or, used any kind of like weird secrets or any kinds of weird stuff?
Honestly, no, it was ridiculous how simple creating that offer was. And once I got it, like, oh, okay, this makes sense. This is an offer that I can now present the same way every time. Yeah. I can now book the phone calls in the same way. I can track it in a very easy way. Everything follows the same process. Easy. It really is easy.
It doesn't require a secret sauce or some revolutionary system to go out there and book those calls and make sales. Truly what it takes is doing the proactive approach of getting clients, and B, having a market message match that will be, I think if we can go back to that, having like booking those 15-minute calls that you're having with your market, those triage calls that lead to a sales call, they give so much insight on what you should actually talk about that you figure out that market message match either way. For Nick, it went incredibly fast. For some people, it might take a bit longer, but that's cool. But I think the core message here that I want to share is like, there was no secret. There was no weird stuff that you did or that makes you any different than people that are truly committed in making the thing work, which makes this story so freaking incredible.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's not like some weird trick that you have to like, it's not, it makes sense. You're producing content around the things that are on people's mind, and this because you are speaking to them, and you're having these intro calls, you're bringing more people into your world, you're making these authentic connections, you're genuinely figuring out, because also the other thing too is like, I've become way more like, so my program is all around maths. It's for kids. It's to help them with it for an exam. It's purely just maths. But within that space, there's some other related exams that people message me about. Oh, hey, can you help me with this? Blah blah blah. Maybe it's like English or whatever it might be, something else. But straight away I can also be like, actually no, it's not. I can't actually really help you with that. So I still kind of point them into the right direction, but also I'm able through Messenger to figure out. I can qualify people too. So I'm creating connections with people, and I'm still in control of where I'm really putting lots of my time, the content being the most scalable part, so that lots of people are seeing that. Then the Messenger, I'm able to kind of figure out, okay, who are the people that I can actually really help and are actually most likely also going to go for the high ticket offer that I can provide. So you're in control of it. And then again, the clarity call is what I call it, is my 15-minute initial call. That's been really helpful for, again, qualifying, but also it's customer research, and you're continually getting more and more insights. Also just like the language that people use, or just like particular things that are kind of related areas that I understand, but I'm even more understanding of, or like the kind of the emotional impact of a particular thing that I'm aware of, but then somebody's told me a new story about how that showed up in their life. And I'm like, oh man, I actually didn't think about that. So this is now something that, again, it's just deepening my understanding. And then I'm constantly refining my offer, and particularly my Google Doc that I have that has all the information about my target customer, my avatar. It's like, I'm using it, all integrates nicely too, because I've got the initial call that's helping me with writing my content. It's also helping me with understanding my avatar, so that when I have my sales calls, I'm even more tuned in to their pain points and what they really want.
100%.
Yeah.
This is what we're working right now. Like, you're bringing up a great tool. I've been wanting to release that for the people in the Power Hour Challenge and Conversation Control for so long. A simple Google form that that asks the core questions that we get out of sales calls and triage calls, that you can, every single time you have like a transcript of the call, you can copy and paste that part of the call into the Google form. And then whenever you need to do a research, you simply have a Google form filled with the questions and stuff they're looking for, because it's so powerful. It's more accurate you're talking to the people you want to serve, as more of them you will get. Nick, this is an incredible story. I can't wait to see wherever else this is going, with such a momentum that is being built right now and was built over the last few days and few weeks. If you can project, just as a last question, if you can project, it's probably going to be hard because what you have experienced didn't feel real, and now it starts becoming real. Where do you see that thing going in the next, I don't know, 30, 60, 90 or so?
Yeah, so the main thing that I'm just really focused on at the moment is just making sure to really look after these new customers, really go the extra mile for them, and just make sure that, I'm really helping them, which I'm already on top of, but it's just really important because, especially because, if they're happy, they're more likely to show up in the Facebook groups and refer me and everything, tell their friends. So it makes sense to really double down on helping them. We've got our call that I'm looking forward to, because I plan to, I will join the next upsell within the program to kind of work with you guys even closer within Conversation Control, because it's made sense. And this is also one of the other things too, is like, I actually, like I mentioned earlier on, I'm not one of these people that has spent 20,000, 30,000 on personal development. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't, but that's not what I've done. This is the first time I've ever spent any, significant high ticket on like a conversation. Obviously Power Hour is like super cheap, but, working closely with you guys is the first time I've ever done anything like this. But I will be joining, the next, to work with you guys even closely, because it just makes sense. Like, I've spent whatever, I can't remember the exact amount, but like, compared to $60,000 in revenue is ridiculous. So it just makes sense to continue working with you guys. And then from that, of course, looking after customers initially, and then it will be to think about growing further. So I have ideas I have tutors at the moment delivering some of the low ticket one-to-one stuff, but it would be cool in future to have other people delivering the high ticket offer. And of course, then thinking maybe about bringing other people on to manage parts of the Power Hour process. I have an assistant, a VA, who is incredible, been with me for about a year and a half. I'm going to get her to do more of the Power Hour processes. So essentially, parts of the system that I can delegate within the sales process, within even getting people involved within the Facebook group, to kind of build a team around me, essentially, is the idea. Build a team around me to help to scale up the offer, but also being mindful of really looking after the people that I do have now would be it. Yeah.
Nick, what an incredible journey. Thank you for sharing it with everyone in the Conversation Control group. I had a blast, and it's just going to be even more incredible moving forward. Thank you for taking the time and being here.
Yeah, no worries, man. Good to chat. Yeah, I hope it's helped to anybody watching. Like I said, I would just to wrap it up. It might sound like I'm affiliated with Miles, but I would genuinely, if anybody's on the fence, I would go for it. I would really work with these guys, seriously. Especially the fact that it's not like one of these this loads of hype on Facebook, and then actually you're going to get there and you're going to be let down. No, in fact, you'd probably be blown away. Like, really, these guys do over deliver. You are looked after. They really care. The stuff that they show works. It's straightforward. It's not anything that's like super like secret sauce stuff, as Miles said, but it does work. And because you are there with a community of other people too, I found that, for me, it was seeing other people having this high ticket offer, the inspiration around that, and then knowing that when you're ready, you can jump in and really get started with whatever it is that you really need the most help with. And for me, it's been absolutely transformational. So I would really recommend these guys.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank
you very much. For everyone who wants to embark that path and want to follow the footsteps of Nick, feel free to comment. What do you want to choose today? Game plan below, comment game plan below, and I'll reach out to you and we can get on a 10-15 minute chat where I see if this path is something that is qualified for you or not. If not, give you whatever kinds of services or support you need next to that. But let me know below if this is something that you want to talk about, and we will. And if not, that's totally cool too. But Nick, thank you very much for taking the time. And Conversation Control, thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Cool. See you later. Yeah, nice one.